it's here. I'm finally going to be able to get back to it. Motor and transition adapter is all going to get put on here. And we're going to get the motor, transition adapter, and transmission all together. And then shove it up in here. Get the mounts ready and everything. But before I do that, this transmission, this is a 4L80. It's covered in grease, rust. This one's really not too oily and greasy, but it is. It does have some oil and grease. Same thing like over here. So what I'm going to do is lift it up in the air and start taking stuff off that doesn't need to be on there. Get rid of the old stock motor mounts. And then clog any ports that need clogged up so that I can pressure wash everything clean. So that's going to be the plan for now. So I got everything bolted up, ready to slap this onto the trans and then get it hooked up to the motor. Alright, so I got the mid plate on, and I got the torque converter and adapter on. Everything's running smooth, square, and straight. So I'm going to take this and get everything mocked up for the trans. Getting ready to drop it in, getting stuff. The transmission time will clear it out, but getting ready to start shoving it in there. Alrighty, so we ran into our first problem. This transmission crossbar, the support for the transmission, the bolt goes here, but they both have these ears. I'm not sure what for, but that is making it too narrow for the transmission pan to fix. So, about to get rid of that issue. Alright, well, I'm still recording with this crappy camera on my phone because I know I'm on call at work, so I can't just bring camera equipment with me. But last night we were able to get the motor and transmission sitting, and we ended up getting it much farther back than I originally anticipated we would. We actually have a lot more room than I thought. You got enough room where the rack and pinion actually was able to fit, slide in there, and have room. This right now is just holding onto the crank pulley there just to keep the motor tilted up where it should be. We got some blocks on the mid plate holding it up to about the right height. So everything's sitting as good. I actually have enough room where we can put the alternator and alternator backup back on there, but I got to get different alternator for it. But the biggest problem I ran into yesterday is this manifold. Where this sits, the turbo itself, which is over here. So this is the exhaust housing and intake housing side. But the one that gets hung up, that is without the inlet side. So you can see how close that is. And so to get that in there, that's just sitting too close. So you can use adapters or make your own. I was looking for a different header. I think I could find is one that moved this back to these center sections, which I do think that would be enough to get it back. I just got to get some measurements. I was really hoping to find something that had a rear mount. Alrighty, so things that have happened since I've actually been able to stop and take a video, because we've been pretty busy on this when I can get parts, getting stuff done. So over the weekend we did finish the motor mounts, the mid plate mounts. I did get a rear sump, oil pan, and pump. Got the old starter rebuild, also got a new starter, so I have spares. Mid plate mounts done. Today we are going to finish the mounts for the rack and pinion. Also got some parts to make the X brace there removable, because right now you can't drop the trans without pulling the motor. So we got some parts there to make that X brace removable. And then yesterday, while I was waiting on parts again, I got all the wiring stripped up and set up, so each gauge's wiring is set up. All the white lights and everything are strung up and coiled up. That way, when I do get everything I need done, the wiring can be super simple. Everything's taillight wires are all cut. Everything's ready to just be rewired completely. That way it's easy. I do all of it, don't have to figure somebody else's old work out. But the car is coming along pretty nicely. So after today we should have the transmission mount and the X brace finished, and the rack and pinion almost finished. I'm still waiting on Heim's joints for this, and the steering U-joint down here is the wrong size. I need a 26 spline. I ordered that, waiting on that too. Got the turbo spacer, because this keeps this too close to the block that the turbo actually touches the valve cover, so I need an inch spacer now to get it away, and it sits absolutely perfect there now. But needed some longer studs, those are ordered. So back to just getting enough done when I have the parts to do so. Alright, and we're back. So I have the 4L80 now that I will be using in this car. It is not built. Surprisingly enough, getting 4L80 parts has been the hardest thing with this car. That's been what's held this thing up for 3 weeks. I've gotten other little things done, but nowhere near the progress I should have gotten done. You wouldn't think putting a Mercedes motor in a Chevette and having to get everything shipped from the UK, that the American 4L80 that's out of every pickup truck we have around here would be what was hard to get performance parts for, but can't seem to get them. So probably going to be using a module that plugs into the stock harness on the side, and it turns it to a manual valve body. It's not enough to drag race, but probably enough to do a burnout at my wedding. Other things I got is I got the new pedal master cylinder and So now I can get the brakes figured out. So I have this, the 2 master cylinders mount right here in the back. I got the mounting plate. So now I'll have proper brakes. See here, I have the master cylinders, so there's 2. Because currently there is a master cylinder and a proportion valve, but it's a single piston. So if you don't know the difference between that, single piston master cylinder right now runs the front and rear brakes. So if I were to have a leak on the front, that means I'm losing both front and rear brakes. You can get a dual piston master cylinder and do it that way, or what I found that I thought is cheaper, easier, is this, which is going to do, so I'm going to have 1 master cylinder for the front, 1 for the rear. So I'll always have some brakes, but I got to get this old pedal assembly and master cylinder and everything else out, and so I can start getting this stuff fitted. And then I can start messing with transmission, trying to get it in here. Once the transmission's in here, we can figure out the transmission tunnel and then start making a firewall. And then after firewall, the only thing that would be left would be drive shaft, because I have an intercooler coming, would be drive shaft wiring and lines. Alrighty, so right here, just got my fuel cell shortened, so I gotta put the 2 new feed lines and then the fuel pressure sensor, or not fuel, fuel sending unit on. But things that I've gotten done recently. My grandpa came down here, we got the fenders straightened up, and we got the headlights put in. And I have to say, it looks way better. This camera is not really doing it much justice, but it looks like, I don't know, looks cool. Looks like my car from high school. There's still some little things to do. Also, I got most of the engine stuff done, so I'm not sure if I showed this yet. I bought a new intake, so I got the intake done. I got the new rear sump oil pan done, gasket in, all of that is complete now. This is all from when I had it upside down and oil was up there. But so that's done. Starters on, dipsticks in. This is gonna go. Okay, so I need to put on the cap and everything back, of course. Then I need to drill out some spot for fuel sending unit, and then those 2 returns. So I'm gonna do that right now, and then I'll cut back when I'm done. Alright, well now that's done, I've gotta cut this bar, and that bar out, and then also I need to get rid of these loose fasteners. So I'm gonna do that now. Got the fuel cell in, and we got the hitch in, so all of this is in and set up. Let me get a flashlight, I'll show you more of the underneath side. So we've got everything hooked up for the hitch. We've got some gussets back here. Everything's hooked up to the chassis itself. Everything's braced. And we got the fuel cell sitting in here too. Alrighty, well, pretty much done with what I was doing. We got the rear all put together. All this stuff is still loose because I got to pull these out, put the right sealing in there. But everything's put back together. Axles are slid back in, plates put back in. Got all the brake lines and stuff out of here. Calipers are all loose now, so I can mess with that. Center section's all put back together. Alright, well, I got some lock collars for the front doghouse to make it go in and out easy. I got this little billet plug to get rid of some of the speed sensors. I'm gonna try to put this trans in that has a broken ear just for fitment. And then I did go pick up a new transmission. It's in better shape than the other ones. I mean, it's dirty, but the case and everything looks good. So I got a new trans. It's a little bit different. It's got the right cooling lines, so it's got the front and rear. Only difference, it's got a bolt-in yoke versus the rest of them I have. Well, versus this one is a slip yoke, but other than that, everything's the same. So I'm gonna try to get this one fitted in there today. I'd really like to get intake piping and stuff done too, but I don't know if I will or not. But I want to get transmission done. I'm gonna put the rear end finished together. Everything's just loose on. I didn't have the sealant for it, so I have the sealant now. So I'm gonna put the rear end and everything back together. Alright, so I'm back. This is Friday. So this is the weekend before my wedding. So I have really, after this weekend, I have 4 days. Big things that need to happen are getting the lines figured out for that trans. Got jam nuts and everything for this, but that's not important. Gotta get intercooler piping. Like to get this fitted. I need to get a couple bushings and stuff to get that right, but honestly, it's not top priority. If I don't have this alternator mounted, then I don't have an alternator mounted. I'm only doing a burnout. I can't drive it on the street yet because my VIN number stuff won't be here in time, so who cares if I have an alternator to do a burnout? As long as it's got enough charge to start up, that's all I need. But if I can't get it done, I can't get it done. Firewall is happening this weekend. Rear end is done. Transmission, once I get that other transmission in it, it'll be super simple. I just got to get a drive shaft measure and then get the measurements for the drive shaft to our guy on Monday, and he said he'll have it by the end of the day Monday made, and I'll be able to slap it in there. So